All right, welcome to the Tiedown Training. Now, this is a stupid simple way to seal off your deals and prevent them being prospects from just saying they're just going to do it on their own. Okay, so there's three like major types of tie downs that I personally look for in my sales structure and my sales conversation to just hold the deal together. Now, what is a tie down? Now, they're sometimes defined as small commitments by some sales trainers, and there's some truth to that. But the way I look at them is they're leverage points that hold your deals together, kind of like a stake that you hammer into the ground to keep your tent from blowing away, right? Because if you don't have them, your tent is just going to get caught in a gust of wind and blow away, like you know. So it's something that just holds the deal in place. So the three types of highest leverage tie downs are as follows in my experience. So the first one is burning needs tie downs. Now these are things that the prospect needs in order to succeed that they cannot possibly do without. Okay, so the goal is to identify them, these needs, you know, while asking them, do you know what you're specifically looking for? During that portion of the script, that question alone sounds pretty innocuous and harmless, but a skilled sales professional is going to already understand what the prospect cannot make it without and how his offer or solution solves that problem. So now, in some cases, the prospect will be like, well, I don't know exactly what I'm looking for. They may just not know because they haven't thought about it. Now, that is your job as a sales professional to fill in the gaps, and help them realize problems that they didn't even know they had. So, and this is because your job is to be a problem finder, okay, not a product pusher. So, and you want to be the guy that presents solutions to those problems. So, for example, like, if the sales, so let's say someone's trying to start a business, online business, e-com or something. And the salesperson will be like, well, do you know what you're looking for to get going? Like, oh, I don't exactly know. Okay, well, do you know how to run ads at a profitable ROAS so that you can scale? Oh, you don't. Okay, so maybe some help setting up your ads so that they're profitable, right? Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. So it's important this part of the script to really have three or four things that help the prospect realize that they have problems they didn't even realize. Okay, and if they don't do something about it, they're just not going to make it. Okay, so burning needs tie downs. You want to very simply, when you're asking the prospect what they're looking for, you want to understand what they need, what they can't make it without, and how that ties into your solution later in the pitch. Okay. Now, the second type of tie down is an identity tie down. Um, and by the way, just to circle back briefly to the burning needs tie downs, these are important because this is going to prevent the objection of, oh, I'm just going to try it on my own at first. So when you have these down, and I've done this so many times. You go through your pitch, the prospect will be like, well, maybe I could just try to figure it out on my own. That's when you pull out this burning needs tie down and you'd be like, well, how are you going to be able to start your business if you don't know how to do X, Y, and Z? Skeptical tone. Then they're going to be like, well, shit, okay, I can. All right, well, let's just do it. Boom. That's how you hold your deal together. All right, moving on to the second type of tie down. It's the identity tie down. Now, these are ways to tie the prospect down to the ideal version of themselves and associate them with that ideal person and how that person operates and makes decisions. So the way you would do this, is when you're talking about their goals, you'd be like, okay, so your goal is to make 100K a month. So okay, so let's chat real quick because the business owner that makes 100K a month, what does that business owner do differently than the guy or the girl who makes just 5K a month? Leave that question open-ended, because you want them to think about it. And you want to challenge them here because sometimes they'll be like, oh, well, they just work really hard. And sometimes what I say is, well, my lawn keepers or my cleaning ladies will work really hard, but they're not making 100K a month. So it can't just be that. Slight status frame, slight authority frame there, if you notice, very nuanced. So if you really, and salesperson, so if you really thought about it, what is the entrepreneur who's making 100K a month doing differently from the average guy who's struggling to make 5K a month? Well, they probably have better skills. Okay, so where are they getting those better skills from? Well, from people who know what they're doing. Okay, so is that person investing in learning from people who are more experienced than him? Well, yeah, 100%. Okay. So then it's just a question of, I'm still being the salesperson here. Is it just a question? Then it's just a question of, are you willing to act like that entrepreneur so that you can become him eventually? Well, yeah. Are you sure? Well, yeah, 100%. Okay, got it. Identity tie down. You've tied them down to their future self and how that person would act. And so later, when they're maybe on the fence, after you've gone through your pitch and you're like, where would you like to go from here? They'll be like, oh, I'm not sure. Like, well, why do you feel that way that you're not sure? Well, I don't know. It's a big decision. Oh, okay. So that ideal version of you that's making 100K a month, what would that guy do? Well, that guy would just do it. Okay. Where do you want to go from here? So these are things that you can hold your deal together with at the end. So that's an identity tie down. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. Now the third type is just a personal responsibility or commitment to change tie down. So these are effective when someone has tried something before that you've identified early in the script. Like, for example, like before you found us, were you out there looking for help to solve this? Have you ever invested in other programs? Oh yeah, I have. It didn't work out. Wait, oh hold on, what happened there? Prospect says, well, I just didn't get results. This is where you have to get them to tie themselves down to personal responsibility rather than blaming programs, right? Well, hold on. Okay, so were other people getting results from that program? Well, yes, they were. So what happened for you? Well, I just didn't do the work. Okay, so if we do end up working together, are you going to do the work? Yeah. Are you sure? 100%. Okay. You're deflecting responsibility, shifting from to the program to the prospect. So this is important, right? Um, and in like a commitment to change tie down is just at the very end in the consequence phase. um you ask that consequence question, like what happens if you don't fix this problem. They'll be like, well, I don't know, I'll just keep trying. Well, okay, but here's the reality of your situation, or any human being situation. There's always a chance we don't get what we want, right? So if you really stop to consider it and we're honest with yourself, like what happens if nothing changes? Potentially, what could that mean for your business and your family? Well, it would be really bad. I would have to go back to getting a job. Salesperson. Okay, well, are you willing to settle for that? Well, no. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, whose choice is it if you settle or not? It's mine. Um, so okay, so it sounds like it's important for you to do something about this then, right? Yes, it is. Okay, great. You got a commitment to change then. Okay. And there's another way to do it too. Another thing I like to use that's pretty effective is, I say something like, okay, so I ask this without judgment whatsoever, all love. Um, is becoming that next level entrepreneur that has that time freedom, that has that uh, basically unlimited finances. Is that something that you're like it's just nice to have for you, or is that something that you're committed to? And you want them to, say obviously they're committed to it. They usually will. And then after that, I usually like to throw in a why now question, like why do this now? It just builds urgency. Okay, so just to review real quick, tie downs, just hold your deals together. Um, First one's very stupid simple, just figure out what they need that they can't survive without. Second thing is tie them down to their ideal identity at some point in the script, acting on alignment with that identity. Third thing is just get them to take personal responsibility if stuff didn't work out before, and just a commitment to change. Okay, so pretty simple, very effective. Hope that helps.